sprouted on that power play with DeBrincat, with Larkin, and Sider. So the Wings, I mean, especially their blue line, has looked particularly good to start this season. I'm not sure if they'll be able to continue this run that they're on, but I think it's really encouraging if you're a Detroit fan to see how well this start has been going for them. And then, in their own right, Boston, I personally thought they wouldn't do as well, considering, the pieces that they lost in the offseason, like Bergeron, like Krejci, but, they've really popped off to that 6-0 start. They've had a few close games, but goaltending's been superb. The offense has been there. I've been impressed with JVR and Jake DeBrusk so far. So we're seeing, the depth pieces that the Boston Bruins needed to show up. So I think that's great if you're a Bruins fan. Obviously, Toronto, Austin Matthews came out with a quick back-to-back hat trick in the first two games, kind of faded away for the next couple. But I think in the last game he got a goal as well, goal or an assist. So I think Toronto, obviously not the best start, but I think par for the course. They're going to be a playoff team. They're going to be a contending team. Obviously, they have a few bumps in the road to get through. I think we're seeing the emergence of Joseph Woll coming out and taking Ilya Samsonov's spot in that starting position. Obviously it's a small sample size, but we'll see how long that can continue for. And obviously with Tampa Bay losing Vasilevsky early on for 8 to 10 weeks is a big blow, but I think it's Jonas Johansson or something like that. Their backups really stepped up as well. Kucherov, Braden Point, have all been playing as they should. Obviously Steven Stamkos had an injury scare. Particularly he's also in a contract year, so you're gonna see him really pushing for that extension. Hopefully with Tampa. I know there's been some on and off talks with him and the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think they want to hold off on negotiations until the end of the season. That's kind of pissed off Stamkos, rightfully so, I think. But we'll see. He has a lot to play for, so I think Tampa should be all right. I know a lot of people thought that they might miss, but I think again, it's a small sample size, but based off of how they've been playing, I think they should be fine. Montreal has been a pleasant surprise. Again, I guess obviously this is a small sample size. I'll have to revisit this video, halfway through the season or so, maybe a quarter. But I've been impressed with the gumption that they've had in each game. They haven't really rolled over and given it to the opposition. Nick Suzuki hasn't been, amazing, but Cole Caulfield has been, and they're such a young team. Obviously, that Stanley Cup run that they went on in the bubble was super surprising for everyone. But I think we're kind of seeing a revert back to the mean, and we're seeing that gradual emergence of their young stars, and we're seeing the potential or the start of that potential of what's going to be an eventually great Canadiens team. The Senators, not quite the start I thought they would have. I personally thought they'd be kind of up where Detroit is. But I think we're just kind of seeing them all gel together. Tarasenko's looked good. Brady Tkachuk's looked good. Giroux looks like he hasn't missed a step, even though he's getting up there in age. Tim Stützle, Jake Batherson, Josh Norris is back from injury, so I think all the pieces are there for the Senators, and we're going to see them, push up the rankings here. I can see them maybe pushing up Tampa, but we have to see what type of run they go on. And their defense with Chychrun, Sanderson, Thomas Chabot, it's a great core to have. Chabot hasn't always been, there for them this year. He's kind of lost that PP1 spot over to, I think it's Sanderson now. But they just have so many options on the blue line that, the Senators are a great young team. I think they're a little further ahead of, the cup chase than the Canadiens. But yeah, I think we'll see the Senators move up. Florida, it's been a bit disappointing. Obviously, they're still riddled from injuries from that playoff push, but I think we'll see them kind of, work it's such a small sample size, we can't really say too much, but they're in such a tough Atlantic division. I hope they can make a playoff push, but I don't know. I think it'll be close. Moving into the Metropolitan, we got New York, Florida, New Jersey, Columbus, Carolina, the Islanders, Washington, and the Penguins. I'll start at the bottom this time. As a big Penguins fan, I've been really disappointed with how they've been playing. They started off with 2 great wins. Crosby, Gensel, Malkin, they had great chemistry. The power play was working with Carlson. But it's really tapered off. I don't know what happened. They're looking sluggish on the man advantage, and the goaltending just hasn't been where they needed it to be for them to get those close wins that teams in the first, second, third position have been managing to get. I'm not sure if there needs to be a coaching change or what, but it's been really disappointing watching the Penguins and seeing collapses that aren't characteristic and shouldn't happen when you have the quality of leadership and skill that the Penguins have on their roster. So I hope they can right this ship. It's still early days yet. I can easily see it happening, but it's been a really disappointing start as a Penguins fan. And I also have Crosby, Gensel, and Malkin all on my fantasy team, so it's been a tough few weeks. So I really hope they can right this ship. I think they have all the pieces there. I'm not sure what needs to be changed. I'm not sure if Coach Sullivan needs to take a step back. But there's just so much experience, so much skill in that locker room. I think it's personally only a matter of time before they figure it out. But how long that'll be, and maybe it'll be too late. We'll have to see. Next up is the Washington Capitals in the 7th position. I'm tied with the Islanders. It's been a slow start for Ovi. I think he only has 2 2 even strength goals in 6 games, and I think there was a back-to-back period where for 2 games he didn't have a single shot on net, which is super uncharacteristic for the grade A. But recently we've kind of seen a slow emergence of, Backstrom, of Kuznetsov, and of Ovechkin waking up. I still don't think the Capitals will make the playoffs. It's nice though to see Connor McMichael and Dylan Strome and the other young pieces of that team kind of begin to start, finding their footing in terms of emerging as key contributors of that team. I guess traditionally it had been, Tom Wilson. It had been Nicholas Backstrom, Kuznetsov, Ovechkin, kind of carrying the team, and now we're maybe seeing a beginning, a changing of the guard, so to speak. But John Carlson's also been great, but I don't think they have enough of whatever it is to make the playoffs. But I think they're going to be a really entertaining team to watch this season. They're not going to be, games where the other team just walks over them, I hope. But yeah, the Islanders. I'm not a huge Islanders fan. I just think that the style of hockey they play really just handcuffs their star players, Barzal, Horvat, and the like. But they have arguably the best goalie in the league in Sorokin. Noah Dobson's great. They have a lot of great players. I just think the system they play is kind of boring. But yeah, it's kind of the start that I expected out of them, kind of middle of the pack team. They should make the playoffs. They should, but anything can happen. Carolina Hurricanes. They've lost a lot of high-scoring games. I don't know what's up with the goaltending. They kind of have a circus of goaltenders, or not a circus. A circuit of goaltenders. I don't know. Obviously, they're missing Svechnikov. So I think his return's going to be huge for them. They're going to manage to kind of outshoot the other team, so to speak, when it comes down to those who can score the most goals contest. But it's kind of been a lackluster start for the Carolina Hurricanes, but I think Rob Brendamar is going to turn the team around, or is going to guide the team upwards in the rankings. They're going to make the playoffs. I don't doubt they're going to make the playoffs at all. Brent Burns, Sebastian Aho, Seth Jarvis, Slavin, Svechnikov coming back is going to be huge. Obviously, it's going to be a couple games for him to adjust, but still, I think he's going to be an impactful addition once he's back in the lineup. I think he was almost at a point per game pace when he was healthy last season. Now the Columbus Blue Jackets. Well, they haven't been terrible, but they lost Werenski right off the bat, and now they've just lost Laine. Luckily, I think Werenski's coming back. Laine got a high hit from Rasmus Henderson. Head injury, those are variable. I hope Laine's not out for long, because I have him on my fantasy team. But it didn't look good, especially with a player like Laine who has an injury history. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. I hope Laine comes back. They're young players. Van Tilly's looked great. Johnny Gaudreau, I think he hasn't really produced at the level that he did that contract here in Calgary, but it's hard to repeat that if you're Gaudreau. I don't think the Columbus Blue Jackets stay in the 4th position. Obviously, I think they're going to fall. But yeah, I hope Laine comes back for them soon, and I think Werenski coming back is going to be huge for them. New Jersey's been great. Obviously, they didn't start out super hot, but Jack Hughes has been insane, and I think we're seeing that player that teams were hoping for in his draft year. Obviously, a bit of a lackluster rookie year, but that's kind of be to expected, so not really anything there. Him, Tyler Toffoli, Jesper Pratt, Timo Meier to some extent, he's kind of been asleep, but he's coming back. I think the Devils are dangerous. There's going to be a contender. Not a contender, but there's going to be a playoff lock. I don't know if they're a cup contender yet. I know a lot of Devils fans might hate me for saying that, but I don't think one playoff run warrants you being a Stanley Cup contender. Maybe I'm just being, I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think, but yeah, I think the Devils obviously a lock for the playoffs, but it'll be interesting to see, how far they go this year. With teams, taking more precautions against them. They were kind of flying under the radar, I think, last year. Caught a lot of teams off guard. The Flyers. Obviously, I didn't expect the Flyers to kind of be in this position, but again, small sample size. Sean Couturier has looked great. It's nice to see him back. Obviously, he had a long layoff. Cam Atkinson, Joel Farabee, Travis Konechny, I think. Carter Hurt. They've all looked alright. Will this continue? Probably not. So if you're a Philly fan, I hope you're enjoying this. Take a screenshot. Because there's going to be down here, I think, I would be willing to bet a good amount of money the Flyers don't make the playoffs. But I think you're just seeing a lot of teams kind of figuring it out right now, getting the chemistry going, and then, maybe December, January, we'll kind of see where the actual front runners lie. But yeah, the Rangers have been great. I think the question marks that they had, Capo, Lafreniere, have kind of started to be answered. Alexis Lafreniere has looked good. Haven't seen too much of Kako. And then, of course, Kreider, Panarin, Fox, Zibanejad, Shesterkin, they've all looked good as well. I think the Rangers are looking a lot better than a lot of people thought they would. They're definitely going to make the playoffs. There's not a doubt in my mind that they don't. But we'll see. Philip Chino's looked good. Their depth pieces have looked good. I don't think they'll finish first, but I don't think they were as bad as people thought they would be going into the season. But we'll see again. Not that many games played, but I've liked what I've seen out of the Rangers. Obviously, though, I hope the Penguins take their place and finish first, but that'll probably not happen. Central, we got Colorado, Dallas, Winnipeg, Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota, Winnipeg, Arizona, Nashville, St. Louis, and Chicago. Not really too much of a surprise there. I think the standing Coyotes have looked really great, but I don't know if they have a lot of staying power. The Blues have looked terrible. Chicago has looked Bedard's obviously a big storyline, but he's 18 years old. I don't know how many points he has, but he's not gonna be able to carry them into any playoff position at all. I think it's better for Chicago if they finish like maybe second or third last and they get a run at getting another high lottery pick. Build quality players around Bedard for the future. But yeah, St. Louis, Binnington, Justin Falk, the new captain, Braden Shen, they have Pavel Buchnevich, Troy Krug. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of where they're at right now. I'm not a big fan of Binnington. I'm not really surprised they're down here. I don't think it will really change. I think all these teams are better than them. Maybe not Nashville, but yeah. Speaking of Nashville, Ryan O'Reilly looked good at the start of the year. This is another team where they're going to make it tough for other teams to win. It's not going to be a gimme. I don't think there's a lot of teams at all in the league this season where it's a gimme win. Nashville has those players like Ryan O'Reilly, Philip Forsberg, Roman Josi, Saros. They're going to make you earn that win. It's not going to be easy, but I don't think those players are capable of really propelling the team into a playoff position and cup contention like, I guess Nashville fans are hoping. The Arizona Coyotes have really been a nice storyline to watch. I think all their young pieces look great. Sean Dursey, Logan Cooley have all looked great. Cooley in particular has been impressive, but I think what we're seeing is young teams like Arizona and Chicago. I could see maybe 3-4 years these two teams, Arizona and Chicago, being in the 1-2 position. Their stars are great. The future stars of the game, I think, will come. Maybe Arizona and Chicago in 5-6 years. We'll see. Winnipeg, they're kind of a mid-team this year. Obviously, Hellebuck and Shifley signed identical contracts. I don't know. They have a good core. It's not a bad core. I don't know if it's a cup contending, or I should say a cup winning core. Kyle Connor, world-class athlete, world-class player, but I don't know. I like the Jets. I think they have a great fan base. I love watching them in the playoffs with the whiteout, but I don't know. I just don't think they're able to beat Dallas and Colorado in a 7-game series. Maybe Minnesota this season, but we'll see. Speaking of Minnesota, Kaprizov looks great. Obviously, that's a big thing you need if you're Minnesota. He is the star player, so you kind of need him to pop off. Ryan Hartman had 3 goals, 1 assist last game I watched. Their defense is a bit iffy. Galen Addison is on that PP1 unit. Doesn't really have the pedigree of like a Quinn Hughes or a John Carlson or an Aaron Ekblad and Victor Hedman. You get the picture. But they've been managing to win games. Fleury has seemingly found the fountain of youth. I don't know. I think Minnesota's going to be a playoff team. I don't think they'll get anywhere close to a Stanley Cup this season. But, they're young pieces. My head's blanking on that. Oh, Matt Boldy. He's one of them. He's looked great. They have a couple good young players. Matt Boldy's the only name I can remember, so I'm sorry, Minnesota Wild fans. But, I don't know. I'm not mad about how the team's built and constructed. we'll see. I don't, it depends how healthy Colorado is. I think in the West, Colorado and Vegas are probably the only two threats to the Dallas Stars. I think any other team they can probably knock off in 7. But yeah, it was the start I was expecting from Dallas. I think they're going to stay in this 1, 2, 3 position. No worries of them making the playoffs or not, but we'll just have to see how they do in the postseason. Colorado Avalanche. Amazingly, none of their big players have an injury. Knock on wood. McKinnon, McCarr, Rantanen, they've all looked great. The additions of Thomas Tatar, Ryan Johansson, Jonathan Drouin to an extent have all been working out. So it looks like they're back to their winning ways. Obviously that first round loss is quite embarrassing for Colorado. I think they're going to be out for blood this season. I see them pushing deep in the playoffs this year, and they're going to easily make the playoffs as well. No doubt about that. As long as they stay healthy, because that's been an issue for them in the past, but I really hope they do, because they're such an entertaining team to watch when they are healthy. But yeah. I don't think much will change in the Central at all. I think I'll stay pretty much the same. The Pacific. Well, as a Canucks fan, I have loved this start. Vegas, you can't really be surprised by the Cup contending team going 7-0. Well, I mean, I guess a Cup contending team hasn't actually done that after they've won the Cup, but I'm not really surprised that Vegas is one of the top teams in the division, if that makes sense. But yeah, we have LA, Calgary, Seattle, Anaheim, Edmonton, the surprise, and then obviously San Jose. Poor San Jose. But yeah, obviously no surprise with the Sharks. They're at the bottom. I hope they get their first win soon. It's always interesting to see how long it takes all the teams to get their first win, and San Jose is still looking for theirs. I'm sure they'll get a win eventually. But yeah, if you're watching a Sharks game, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. As well, the Oilers. Holy smokes. They lost McDavid, so that's a humongous blow. The goaltending, with the defense in front of them, you can't really blame them. But Campbell and Stuart Skinner their save percentage has been getting absolutely shredded. Their goals against has been skyrocketing. 27 goals against. That's brutal. I don't know. I think they'll right the ship. There's too much talent on that team for them not to, but it's been a really disappointing and frankly a concerning start if you're an Oilers fan. If they can weather this storm without McDavid, this will be huge for them, but I don't know if they can. Oh, I'm sure they can, but I don't know to what extent the damage will be to their standing. It's easy to bounce back, but we'll see. Anaheim. Trevor Zegras has looked okay. Mason McTavish, Frank Vatrano's looked really good actually. So they have they're a promising team, but they don't really surprise me at the 6th position at all. I'm not really surprised. I don't think they really change. Seattle hasn't really surprised me either. 2 and 4. I think they're better than they've shown, but I don't really see much movement. I don't know. Vince Dunn's looked good. Oliver Bjorkstrand, Jared McCann. I don't know. I just don't think they have it to really push for the cup. The Calgary Flames. It's been alright, I guess. I mean, I kind of hope they did better. I drafted Jonathan Huberdeau and Elias Lindholm, and I've kind of been disappointed in it. I don't know. And same with Kadri. Man, these 3 players, they had terrible seasons last season. You would have thought, going into this season, they'd be hungry to bounce back, but outside of Markstrom, not a lot of their, top paid players are really popping off. It's mainly been, loving how Hughes is looking. Pedersen's looking more confident. He's laying the body. Demko's doing Demko things. The addition of Sam Laverty, Kuzmenko, Mikheyev, JT Miller, Brock Besser coming back. It's the emergence of like the pieces that kind of went silent. The depth pieces for the Canucks are kind of coming out. I mean, even though Garland has been allowed to talk to other teams, that's kind of been the only drama surrounding the team, which has been great for them. They kind of can just focus on hockey, and it's been working. I hope Rick Tocchet can continue doing whatever it is he's doing. I hope the Canucks can stay at the top of the division. I want them to make the playoffs, but obviously it's early days yet. Anything can change. But yeah, Vegas. Well, I mean, they're gonna lose at some point, right? Will they lose before San Jose wins the first game? Who knows? Maybe San Jose will beat them. Wouldn't that be nice? Honestly, if I'm San Jose and I beat the Vegas Golden Knights, I take that as a decent win, honestly. But yeah, great team. I think Vegas, they might back-to-back repeat if Eichel and Stone stay healthy, which is a big if. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know it's like some teams have only played 5 games, so it's obviously not a lot to go off of, but yeah, that's kind of my take of where the teams are at the start of the season. I hope you guys enjoyed it. More NHL content coming at you. I've been telling you guys I'm doing a fantasy hockey video, so I gotta do that at some point. I hope the audio's a bit better. I fiddled around with the settings, but yeah, I really appreciate each and every one of you watching this video, taking the time to comment, to like, maybe subscribe. We're pushing to 5 subscribers, which is